Hi guys, Steve Kaposi here at the Adventuring and Camping School in Northeast Thailand, and I'm just continuing my playlist on fire making. And today I want to talk about cotton balls and solid fuel, and then crushed solid fuel. It would all make sense in due course. This is a fire making methods and portable fuels that I advocate that you carry with you, and we're just going to talk about that quickly. This is a very easy and convenient way to help you make fires. So what we are talking about, basically cotton balls. I've got to talk about cotton balls and solid fuel cubes together. They're a team. Now, by solid fuel, I'm talking about just general commercial solid fuel you can buy. This happens to be Redhead brand, and it comes in these white solid fuel cubes, very light, and that's what you want. Just very cheap, convenient. There's all sorts of different brands, there's all sorts of different types. There's hexamine cubes, hexacubes and so forth. This stuff is very handy, it's light, and it crushes up into small pieces. And I'll show you very quickly a container full of crushed solid fuel, just like that. So there it is. You just put those between two layers of tissue paper, and with a knife or spoon or something, just crush it slowly. Not into fine dust, just into granules, just like that. Okay, so cotton balls and solid fuel is one part of a team. Let's talk about cotton balls for a moment. Cotton balls are very cheap, convenient, you can buy them everywhere. You can buy a big bag for just a few dollars. What you want to do is when you use a cotton ball, you pry it apart. You pry it apart, but you want to keep it in one piece. Pretty much spread that out as far as you can, but as long as you keep it in one uniform piece, it's nice and airy and fluffy, but you don't want different pieces, you don't want gaps also between the cotton ball. It's got to be intact, but just pry it apart as much as you can. That's pretty much what you want, just like that. Pry it apart, but still in one piece. That will light very easily with one spark, one strike every time. And there it is burning up. And that'll give you what I call a short-lived flame. So cotton balls are very easy and convenient. You can carry a whole heap. I happen to carry a whole heap in my Eclipse mint containers, a small steel container, and I can squash about 30 in that small container. You can use different containers. You've got your film canisters and so forth, and there are different brands of mints. The steel containers, doesn't have to be steel. As I said, the film canisters are plastic, but these steel containers you can make char cloth in. They're very handy, very light and so forth, but because they produce a short-lived flame, they have limitations, and that's a disadvantage. Now, especially when you want to start kindling. If you want to start kindling, something like a ring of inner tube and a lighter is the best. I've got a video online already. That will start kindling because you have a longer-lived flame. The disadvantage of cotton balls is a short-lived flame. Now you can put 2, 3, 4, 5, as many as you like into a pile, but you're going to waste your cotton balls, so you don't really want to do that. So let's just keep talking and it'll all make sense in due course. You've got these cubes, those sorts of fire-starting cubes, barbecue cubes, whatever you want to call them. And what you can do is you can get a cotton ball and again, pry that thing out the same way. Now you can put that down and you can put a whole cube onto that cotton ball, and that will ignite from the cotton ball, no worries at all. Now, do you want to use a whole cube? It all depends on what sort of material you have, how dry it is, how fine it is. If it's wet, if it's marginal, you may want to use a whole cube. That's going to burn for a long time. You know, a half, a third, a quarter may be enough. I happen to have a half here. So here's half a solid fuel cube on a cotton ball. I'm going to put it over towards my fire and we'll get that burning. And we'll just leave it there. So that's another fire starting option. The other option you have And I should also mention that cotton balls, you can augment cotton balls. You can coat cotton balls in Vaseline, and I'm sure there's many YouTube videos where people coat them in Vaseline, soak them in wax, candle wax and so forth. Vaseline and petroleum jelly does burn. I don't do that because I don't like Vaseline, it's messy and so forth. And I don't mess about with all these other options of wax and all those sorts of things. So there you've got a nice longer lived flame, and you've got plenty of time to put kindling on that, and we'll see how long that thing burns for. Now you can put a whole cube on. This is only half a cube, and we'll see it burn. You can use quarters. It all just depends on your material. Now the reason I like these cubes is because you can crush them up, as I said, into another container, plastic container or steel container. These small containers are great because they go in my survival pouch on my belt. Very, very handy. It's not so easy to carry all these cubes in your survival pouch, but crushed up in a small container, you've always got that fuel on your belt at all times. You can put spare cubes in your pack, not even crushed. You can have spare containers of crushed fuel in your pack. How much you need, again, depends on how long you're going for, how many fires you're going to start, and so forth. You can have 2, 3, 4 containers. You can have one bigger container in your pack, and you use that to fill up your small container that you keep in your survival pouch on your belt. The options are endless. So now what we can do is get another cotton ball. Pry it apart, put it down. We can now get crushed solid fuel and actually pour out a bit onto that cotton ball. Now crushed solid fuel ignites by sparks, and I did a separate video on that. We'll see it now. We've got crushed solid fuel here. We'll see if sparks can light that. One shot. Just chucked it into our barbecue here. But you can put that onto a cotton ball as an option. You can put that stuff straight onto the ground if you want. A small pile, and that'll light. And put kindling on top of that. That's an option. But on the cotton ball, I can now actually pick that up and move it. Look at that. It's hard to pick up all these small pieces. I can now pick that up, move it, put that into my pack, save it. I can get a very rough bed of kindling. I'm just going to grab just a rough bed, bang, like that. If you put that solid fuel on there, the crushed solid fuel, it's going to go everywhere, go between the wood. But on the cotton ball, it's just going to sit there nice and easy. That's why it's handy on the cotton ball. All I need to do is, again, and as I said, crushed solid fuel starts with sparks. But on the bed of cotton, that's going to burn, and we'll watch it burn. So basically now you've got a longer lived flame. That fire is still going. That was only half a cube. And again, you've got plenty of time to put kindling on there. So you've got so many options here with cotton balls, solid fuel in cubes, which you can use, cut that in half. Again, a sharp knife. Bang. I've got half here, fell into 3 pieces, doesn't matter. There's half there and half there. Half, quarter, how much you need just depends. How much crushed solid fuel you need, again, just depends on the material you have and so forth. How much you take with you depends on how long you're going for, how many fires you're going to make. You can have spare containers in your pack that's still burning. A small piece fell off there, put that back on, and it's going to burn. This one's still burning. You can put spares in your pack. I'm going to keep 1 container at least of crushed solid fuel in my survival pouch on my belt. I'm going to have 1 container of cotton balls. There's 30 crushed into that Eclipse Mints container. So that's always with me on my belt. And again, you can have spare cotton balls in your pack, in a bag. How many you take just depends. But I'm always going to have both options in my survival pouch, on my belt, on my person at all times, along with a lighter and ferrocerium rod and striker. Now, you can use lighters, of course, to light that cube. You can use a lighter to start cotton balls. Even just sparks will start a cotton ball. So pry it apart a bit. There, it burns with just the sparks. The options here are pretty much endless when it comes to cotton balls, these solid fuel cubes, and the crushed solid fuel that you keep in a container. In my opinion, if you use these as a combination as a team, you don't have to augment your cotton balls with things like Vaseline and wax and so forth.